And today, my beautiful guest is my former teammate. I don't know how to introduce him. He is a very big football character, rising star from Vienna Vikings, ELF champion himself, played for different countries and different leagues, and he's always on top of the league. He's been selected top 10 in ELF. And then I'm very happy to start this conversation. My guest is Exavier Edwards. Exavier, welcome to the show, man. It's very great to see you.
I really appreciate it, Utku. I really appreciate it, brother.
Man, we're gonna speak about a lot of things, but let's start right away with the common question. Who is Exavier Edwards?
For you guys to get to know me more, a city guy from California, from Los Angeles, California. Been playing this game since I was 6. I would say damn near 2 decades. Fortunate enough, played at a small school and at a small school called Midland University for my college. What else can I say to you guys? From there out, just been overseas. Got fortunate enough, played my first overseas season with you, Utku, out there in 2019, out there in Turkey. It's funny to know, like, when people really ask me, like, yo, like, when did you play, like, what was your first overseas? Like, it was GFL or the Maple League, and I'd be like, they'll name all those good leagues before the ELF even popped up, you know what I mean? And I'd just be like, no, I played in Turkey, and they'd just be like, what? Like, no way. Like, they would not believe me sometimes, you know what I mean? But I just told them, it was, one, I respect the culture out there, you know what I mean? I feel like you could vouch for me on that. I had a great experience, and then from then on out, I told you guys, my goal was to always try to level up, and that's it, you know what I mean? So yeah, like I said, I'm from Los Angeles, California, just dreamed of, also, always had that dream as a kid to play in the NFL, stuff like that. But, God has different avenues, and the stuff that's been, a blessing for me, I just embrace it, you know what I mean? And I think my calling sometimes is to give back to overseas football, and not over to overseas, but give back to the young ones, as in, helping them out to make overseas and Europe football just bigger. So, you know what I mean? So to rebound from that, I've played in 2019 in Turkey, and then had the COVID year after that, went to the French League and played for the Thonon Black Panthers. Then after that, went to the GFL. After that, was in 2021. And then from 2022 to 2024, I played for the Vienna Vikings. And in 2022, we won the ELF championship. So that's my little up to down, get to know me a little bit more. But yeah.
Bro, that's a career. That's definitely a career, and I'm very curious about it because it's been like when you consider you started playing football in Europe in 2019, so it's your 6th year now, and you played for in Ankara, you played for ODTÜ Falcons, then French Thonon Black Panthers, then GFL, New Yorker Lions, and Vienna. Then
Yep.
Now you're gonna play for Nordic Storm. But let's start with the beginning of the story. So I think so the level up happened from ODTÜ Falcons to Thonon Black Panthers. I couldn't see you playing the entire season there and Thonon because of the pandemic, I guess. But then I think
100%.
your biggest challenge was that, like, playing with the real guys, playing with the real boys in high competition. I think it's GFL, but please let us a bit more about like, how was your first level up? When did you play, like, okay, this European football thing is solid? Which team gave you the impression first? Is that New Yorker Lions?
I would say it was the New Yorker Lions, but at the same time, the thing I liked about the Thonon Black Panthers, I could see, like, okay, like, there's sponsors that go into this now. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, there's more investments into other teams. You just got to look for the right one. You know what I mean? And that's how I see it. I feel like it's about not only investments, and other than that, like, the culture around the team. Like, do they really like football? Because, there's some teams that are just there because, okay, they have some good investors, but as a coaching staff or people supporting the organization, it's not really there. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's very important in Europe, period. I feel like you have to, one, have a culture, and then once you hit that standard where it needs to be, you need to not only have the imports, buy-in, but you need to have the homegrowns buy-in. That's the most important part. It's the homegrowns. Like if you don't, like there's so much homegrown talent all around Europe where you have those guys buy in, then the imports is just an extra. You know what I mean? It's just an extra. Because I feel like if you get the right imports, they're going to buy in naturally. You know what I mean? So that's how I see it. So I would say starting at the Black Panthers, I got to see a little level up as in the investing part and, okay, this is how it goes. And then when I got to New Yorker, it's more of a known team organization all around Europe. You know what I mean? They've won multiple championships. So it's like when I came there, not only the competition was like a little better, the coaching was better. You know what I mean? And that's what I like a lot. I like where you can also learn, you know what I mean? And I feel like it doesn't matter how old you are or young you are, you can always learn in this game. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I would say that. So definitely, I would say when you get to GFL, you'll have better coaching. And then when I got to the ELF, you're gonna, you know what I mean? You're gonna have some good coaching. Like there's people that's coached in America forever, you know what I mean? And they come over here. So that's how I see it.
Yeah, that's a fair answer, and I got a couple things that I'm interested in that answer. So like one thing differs you from other American players is that like in this continent, Europe and these leagues, the GFL, French league, whatsoever, like we only see a rise in the number of American players. So there are a lot of other people coming from the US chasing that dream to reach to the top level and get themselves a living with that, you know? But you pretty much achieved that dream. So when did you first think like, okay, I think I can be like very professional at this in a way that I can sign contracts and I can make my residency here as an American import? When did that happen first?
I would say after 2022. So I would say I'm gonna give a shout out to this obviously Coach Mitchell. I mean the whole staff at the time, and one just giving me a shot opportunity for me to do what I need to do. You know what I mean? Because I knew what I could do in this league. You know what I mean? It's not me being cocky. I'm very humble. I'm a very humble dude, but it was just. I want to level up, you know what I mean? I mean, you've known me for a while, Utku. I don't take nothing for granted, you know what I mean? So it's like in 2022, it wasn't a thing for people, when you play in a top league to play both ways. You know what I mean? People are like, okay, like, dude, you're a dominating corner. They know I can return kicks or whatnot. But then Coach Mitchell, that's now at UAB at a nice Division I school in Alabama. I give him the shout out is because he was the one that was like, yo, I heard you can run the football, you know what I mean? And I was just like, and I was like, yeah, I'll do anything for the team. Like, you know what I mean? If you want me to run he was like, no, like I seen your stuff at New Yorker Lions, like you played both ways there. Like he was kind of giving me a look like, dude, if you can run the football, I'm gonna give you the ball. And I was like, we can give it a try, whatever you want to do. Next thing you notice, he gives me the ball a couple of times, and I'm playing full-time defense, and sometimes my head coach would be like, hey, like, we can put him in, but like, hey, like he's our guy on defense, and Coach Mitchell would just be like, yo, let's want to see him run the ball, let's see what happens, and I get the ball, and my God forbid, great play call, great whole line, and I would just do my thing and score, and after that, I would say after a couple weeks going into it, it was like, hey, like this dude Exavier can do both ways, like legitimately, like, you know what I mean? This isn't like, you'll have some guys that'll be like, I can play both ways. It's like, but they're like an athlete on one side, but they're really better at they actually have a dominant side. Me, I really think, I'm comfortable at both. Like I can play safety, I can play corner. If you want me to really run the ball, like I'll run the ball and do it and, make it work. You know what I mean? And that's it. For me, it's all about the win. I just want to get the W. I mean, it doesn't matter how I have to do it. If I have to just play corner the whole game and do my job, that's all I'll do. If you need me to play a little both ways or hey, you want me to play corner and you want me to return kicks, I'll do it. So it's whatever for the team. I mean, you've known me for a while. That's how I was back then when I played for Turkey and how I am now. So for me, it's about getting the W. I don't care how we get it. I just want to get the W and move on.
It's an amazing answer because I was thinking about it before I started this podcast thing, and like if you analyze it, the players who've been to Turkey then moved on with their careers, I think you are the biggest one in terms of like I thought about it, and none other player who played in Turkey made it to the ELF championship. So like
Right.
the thing I wanna introduce here is that I wanna like for the most of the part I want to learn from you, but I know that there will be a lot of people watching this and seeking to learn from you. So as a player or as a general, like take it as a business, you have your career and you want to move on and advance in your career, right, as a football player.
100%.
So what made you different in this European league? Like what do you think you were the most interested player? And like I wouldn't expect that. Okay, I of course always knew that because like when you were playing in Turkey, your dominance and the difference making abilities were like far out, beyond what Turkish league has. So like then you moved on to the France and you were still, I was watching your highlights and you were true difference maker. You were way above the level there. And then on New Yorker, you were still a big difference maker. And my question is that, like, have you ever felt like you're not playing in the most competitive level, and you're like, a lot of people are very similar to your level of football? Do you feel that way? And the second thing was turning back to the original question. What would you advise to other players? Like, what made you different, and what can we learn from you?
I would say it's so people, bro, like, people will be like, man, that's like cliche, but it's like, since I was young, yeah, right, since I was little, it was just like, dude, you gotta grind, like, even if you got the talent, there's gonna be at a certain level where, even like you say, you brought up the Turkish league, but for me, it was just like, all right, I gotta bring it each and every day, like, even if they're at my level, they're not at my level. For me, it was like every day I'm gonna grind. You know what I mean? I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna keep going. And it was like, I'll be honest. My off seasons, I push myself to exhaustion. You know what I mean? I really do. I don't know too many people in general. I mean, not calling out people. I don't know if people are really putting in the work daily on the night and day. You know what I mean? Basis and the thing is about Europe that I will always respect. Other people have jobs, so it's like it's not like football kids just could be their main thing. That's the one thing I bring up because I respect the hell out of those people that work, and then they still do their working out, and then they still show up to practice to play with us. Like that's one thing I'm gonna bring up on this on this interview is that, because that's one thing that people don't bring up. People be like, how come this person only shows, say you practice 4 times a week, the guy can only show up 3 times. You should be happy he's showing up 3 times because, not only he might have a family, he might have to work 30 hours. You don't know, you know what I mean? And for me, I'm blessed for those people. But for the people that just want to just dive in just straight into the football thing, it's an everyday mindset. And it's like, I know I show my videos or whatnot, me working out. It's not every day too, like, it's like roses, like, oh, I can't wait to attack it. There's some days, I get up and I'm sore. Do I want to take the day off and chill, maybe play the video game, talk to my family and just chill? But in my head, I'm so crazy. I know there's another dude in America or wherever he is trying to get my spot. That's how crazy I think of it. So for me, it's not like, not just me, it's like, dude, someone else wants this opportunity. Cause I remember when I just wanted an opportunity. I remember, and there's every day that's in my hunger. Like there's days, like today I take my day off because I have this going on with you. Like, but I knew, like, hey, dude, you need to give your body a rest. Like, there's also that part too that people need to understand. When you do your training, make sure you have your recovery days. You know what I mean? And yeah, for me, it's that. I think that deep. Like I remember the opportunity I wanted just to. Not to show people, no, just to level up, to show people I can play with whoever, you know what I mean? And I just want to show people too, if you come from a small school, don't give up either. Like it's about, put that work in daily. So that's all I would say. And then for the people that want to get to the ELF or even beyond, like I even tell people, like, you're doing your thing at ELF, and if you're only 24, 25, think about the NFL, the XFL. Think about it, like, for real. Like, really try to reach them goals. You know what I mean? The ELF is a blessing. But I'm just saying, like, always think bigger. Why not? Why not?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I remember, when I was at Turkey, people would be like, man, like, the GFL is the real deal. That was like the big thing. And I was like, all right, well, I need to get there. You know what I mean? I want to play with the big dogs. I want to see what's going on. And then we up there and let's get it. And you know what I mean? So it's a lot of fun. I love competing. So now when I think of it now, when I see like some are like younger guys, they're like, man, like, my first year, was just okay. And I'll be like, what was your first year overseas? They'll be like, oh, the ELF. I'm like, bro, that's a blessing. So they'll be like, because they'll really ask me like, man, like, what do you mean? Like, man, you've been balling here for the last 3 years, every year. You know what I mean? I'll be like, dude, like, you don't know, like, my first year. They'll be like, where did you play at, man? And I'll be like, dude, I started my first career in Turkey. Like, and then, like, it'll humble people sometimes. You know what I mean? At a stage, not in a bad way. Like I said, I'm not a cocky dude, but also be blessed with the opportunities you get. You know what I mean? So that's why I tell people, like, they'll be like, Turkey, right? And they're like, there's football out there? Like, yeah, there's football out there, dude. Like, I got good friends out there, like, good friends. You know what I mean? Long distance friends forever. You know what I mean? So that's the thing, that it's a blessing for me that I thought you would never tell me at 17, 18-year-old Xavier that I would have friends in Turkey and what's going on now. You know what I mean? And it's like what my mom tells me every day. She's like, X, like, embrace these blessings, because, you know what I mean? These are stories and stuff you'll have for the rest of your life, and friends and brotherhoods I will always have. You know what I mean? So, like you said, I'm an ELF champion, and my mindset now is to go get another one, and that's it. And the first thing is first is you gotta get through OTAs, and we go from there. You know what I mean? And of course, have a healthy season. And I've been blessed. Unfortunately, I've been really blessed with most of my career. I've been healthy. So, and that's it, man. So I'm just taking it day by day, and blessed to have this interview with you and keep going.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it as well. But the
Of
one
course.
thing I need to mention, because at one point of time we were living in the same apartment, and there
Yeah.
one day, after getting to know you for like a couple weeks, I asked you like, hey man, like, when do you sleep? Because your days they seem like just trainings, and what you do in between training is what you call the other life, the life. But like, you were training way too much, and as far as I remember, almost every morning you wake up at 6,
Right.
you go for a run, then like some days you go to gym, and in the evening you come to the team practice, and maybe like during the night you do something with the bands. And like, the thing was, it was not 1 or 2 days, like it was like every single day. And I was seeing
Yeah.
you like putting effort onto your diet and so on, and I was like, bro, like, when do you sleep? And that being said, I still believe, like, I play with a lot of people, and I saw other imports as well. But one thing I
Right.
need to inform other people about you is that you were always the hardest worker in the room. So that being said, I'm particularly wondering, so are you still, like, when you take a look around you in your environment and your team, maybe talk a bit more about Vienna Vikings, like, were you also the hardest worker in the room always and anytime, or would you
Yeah,
say
I
like
would-
they're like very very hard working talent there as well, and that you're certain that they're coming too, because
Yeah,
like
I would
that
say
way you made it
at
to the
Vienna,
top 10.
I was blessed. I was blessed to see they already had the culture, as in they've won in the Austrian league. They've been there for 20 plus years and whatnot. If I can, correct me if I'm wrong, but they've been there for a long time. You know what I mean? At a high level. So a lot of guys are already kind of gym rats, man. As in they were already in there, but they already knew who I really was when they see me in there all the time. And it doesn't change now. You see how I am now. There's nothing that's changed now for me. I would say the only thing I've changed now is make sure I just do my recovery and take that more serious, just to make sure the body rebounds. You know what I mean? Because, the ELF season be 14, 15 game seasons, then playoffs. So it's like, you got to make sure you manage your body right. And that's why, like, I'm blessed enough. I have two or three trainers now that are, help me out with my body and make sure I'm doing stuff correctly. You know what I mean? And it's, there's months where you load the body up, and there's times where you deload and you do more mobility, more stuff on the field now. You know what I mean? So I would say at Vienna, they already had that. A lot of the guys, they have a Vikings academy over there, right? So which means these kids are already starting football at 9, 10 years old, and they are starting already a culture. So by the time they get to 17 to 20, 22 years old, they're already ready to play. You know what I mean? So that's the one thing they have an advantage over a lot of teams in Europe. They're probably the number one academy for like juniors in the world, like in Europe. So that's one thing they have an advantage. That's what already brings the culture there.
Yeah, that's a big, I think that's an unfair advantage that you build a culture and you build a generation of football players from childhood.
100%.
I think that's a big difference maker. But you mentioned a bit about you're now taking more care of your body, you're putting more emphasis on the recovery. So that being said, I wonder, because many times we know about your successes, all the things you achieved whatsoever. You played in the ELF championship game, and you were a top 10 player whatsoever. But I think the biggest thing reveals about your key to success is that your mindset, and how it's shaped is that it is often shaped with not only success but a failure. Sometimes you make a mistake and you learn from them greatly. That changes the course of your career. And that being said, do you have any favorite failures you get the biggest lessons from?
Yeah, I would say, I'll tell you one that's simply in 2022, and it was just during the season, getting our butts whooped by Frankfurt during the season, really getting handled, you know what I mean? And in a game where it's we started off 9-0, you know what I mean? Then we played at Frankfurt, and it was a reality check. It was just hey, you're human, you can get beat, you know what I mean? And not just lose by a touchdown, lose by I think it was I don't even know, maybe 20 points, maybe even more, if I can get me correct if I'm wrong. I know some people probably will go in the comment and say something, but yeah, I remember we got our butts whooped, and but after that we won 4 or 5 in a row, and they had us ready for the playoffs, you know what I mean? And I bring that up as a failure because of the fact is it was adversity, you know what I mean? It was our first time of being at a really very high in the season and being real low very quickly, knowing hey, this is what it is. I would say that one. I would say rebounding even off of I'll give you two Phillies that always will itch me now, and it's kind of recent. Losing to Stuttgart in the semifinals, knowing that we could have won that game. Losing that one, and the championship, and just how it just wasn't our day, this past one. Yeah. And people don't bring up the fact, at Vienna, the last 3 years I've been there, I've been to the championship twice and been to the semifinals. So it's the resume will speak for itself. You know what I mean? So my motivation right now is taking one game at a time and get back to the championship. I don't care that it's a new organization that I'm going to now. I know they're going to have good talent. I know we have the coaching.
Yeah.
And but at the same time, like I said, I will take it one game at a time.
Yeah. It's very nice.
But those are my three main failures. It would be the Frankfurt loss, because the reality check, the Stuttgart loss in the semis, because we were right there to go to the championship, and then losing in the championship.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. But and that's how football goes, though. You for me, I don't get sad. It's a lesson for me. It's a lesson.
Yeah. And I mean, you beautifully put it. So you talked about this reality check when you lost to Frankfurt and something. To my knowledge, as far as I know you, you're always playing a certain level, And my question is, so after those reality checks, do you still change something and try to adapt to a better situation to improve yourself, or is it more okay, I'm already doing my thing and I'll keep doing it even more? How would you change the way you play, or maybe you see some technique errors on the field, or when you feel like, okay, I've been playing this way, but maybe for this team I need to play this way, you know? Like, do you still analyze and adapt to different situations? Do we have a new version of Exavier after each failure, or do you more like, okay, I'm on the grind mode and it's a stable process and Exavier every day?
I tell myself sometimes when it's stuff like that, and that goes to watching back at the film and what I could do better. And then during that practice week, it's like, let's go back to being good at the basics too now. As in, don't try to go outside of my, I'll say outside, not even outside my comfort zone. Don't try to do too much. Still be me at the end of the day, as in do my job. And also, I say, like, as a great teammate, explain to your teammates, like, hey, let's still be good at the basics. You know what I mean? We don't have to do too much to be a good defense. You know what I mean? And when I was at Vienna, or when we have a reality check, because I always tell people too, like, you know, look at the film, look at the stuff that you're doing. You know what I mean? And then during that practice week, I always tell myself, am I doing the basics right still? Am I making sure I'm going back to stage one, as in what got me here to get here to play at a great level? So that's why I always tell myself. And then after that, don't overthink. And you know, as a DB, you can't be doing that.
Yeah.
You just, you know what I mean? Still playing within what you can do. Control the controllables. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's how I see it. That's how I see it.
Definitely, man. It's beautiful to hear. Because I see on your mindset as well, like you try to improve other people as well, and I think that's a very great thing by a great leader. So I think that was like a big chunk of your playmaking abilities, and the being a difference maker is that you also change the vibe around you when you get there. Like, I remember the game days and you were hyped, and you were so hyped and believing in us so much that, like, I never saw your face, you know, like looking down.
Never down. No. Even when we're losing, like 10 points, 17, like, it's football. Like, it can happen in one play where the momentum flips and it's like, oh, we're rolling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? I think that's what makes a mediocre player, like, into a great player. Like, you gotta make people believe, yo. Like, that's what it's about. Like, it's making people believe, because after that, everyone's gonna buy in, and now the momentum's rolling. You know what I mean? And that's football. It's take it play by play.
Yeah. It really sounds like you are the football player prototype. That's one thing I really appreciate about you. And then, like, talking about DB actually, because I remember you were playing safety for some time, and now you're mostly, if I'm not mistaken, you're mostly playing as a corner. So, can you tell me how was the transition, and why did you start playing corner instead of safety?
So for me, I played corner and safety all throughout my life. In college, my first 2 years of college, I played a lot of safety, and then last year they put me at corner. So it's like, the thing I like about it, as in, like, my speed coach and, my DB coaches back at home, is that I'm prepared for both. You know what I mean? So I'm not in, like, a comfortable, because there's some safeties that don't want to play corner, and there's corners that don't want to play safety. So for me, I don't care. I really don't. I see it from both sides. I think when you're at safety, you're more in the run fit. At corner, I feel like you got to have good feet and hips. I think if you don't have good hips and feet, it's gonna be a long day for you. I just feel like at the end of the day, because you're gonna meet a lot. You got a lot of good receivers in this world now. I mean, you see, if quarterbacks have good time, the receivers run double moves. They run all types of stuff now these days. You know what I mean? So for me, that transition during my overseas career, like playing safety a lot and then going into corner, it wasn't hard. It was more like, hey, when I'm at corner now, because I'm such an aggressive DB, I can't just go in there when I see the run, because now I got to keep the outside contained. You know what I mean? And that's the only thing where I'm like, unless it's a jet sweep or a real outside zone play or a bubble or check bubble my way, I can really fly up and do and show my physicality. But I refuse to really let people really get their hands on me like that unless they're really holding me, which I hope the refs are calling it then at that point. But other than that, the transition it's smooth. Like I said, I'll do anything for the team. I'm not in an uncomfortable position. So, if our safety went down, they're like, hey, can you come to play safety this game? I feel like I can do it. I feel like my IQ is very, very good. So, for me, it's just adjusting to the defense, and I feel like I play good in any defense. If it's a more man defense or more zone, I can do either or.
Yeah. Bro, you're a great asset, but okay, I only ask you one more question about this DB thing.
Yeah.
Which one do you like more, safety or corner? If you had to choose.
Now, I like safety, because you can really, like, in the run game, like, because in the pass, you can pop out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You're popping out of nowhere. And in the run game, you're just, how I feel, in the run game, you're popping out of nowhere. Like, even when the running back hits that cutback lane, like, you're right there because you're not accounted in the box. But one thing I do love about corner is it's a mano a mano. It's me. It's like when it's cover 0, cover 1, and it's those times where they'd be like, "Hey, you got to guard the American." I already know what the matchup is, and I can't wait. Like through the whole practice week, I just get not only physically prepared but mentally prepared. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And get ready. Get ready. I respect every receiver I go against, and that's it. You know what I mean? But when we get on the green grass, I don't shy from competing. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. I remember I asked this question because as far as I remember, like it was my first time seeing what how was it called, the heat-seeking missile. You were the first player I saw. Okay, this guy is the complete transition of this phrase, like heat-seeking missile. Like your run support and your tackling abilities at safety was so significant that I remember like there were some games like you were playing free safety and you were doing like 10, 12 tackles or something, at least 8. Like no like below 8 tackles per game. Like you were tackling way too much as a as the safeties that I saw before. So like I wouldn't take away that ability from you, and I wouldn't put you on corner. But like I'm very happy to see like you're adapting to every single position, and I think that makes you a very valuable player. Like you can play running back, safety, corner, returner, punt returner, or kick returner. Doesn't matter. You do it all, and like you have highlights and difference making plays in each of the positions as a returner,
right,
corner, safety, whatsoever. That's very, very nice to learn from you, like all these things, and like how would you make yourself a better asset. But then speaking of that, let's now go a bit later in time and start focusing on your new career. So first, when did you decide leaving Vienna, or were you thinking that you would have your career longer with Vienna, but some opportunity just arose?
I feel like for me it was more like not like a feeling. It was just like, okay, like I kind of seen some people kind of separate, like going maybe different places, you know what I mean? And like a person I'm going to bring up that, that's one of my homies I got close to from the GFL till now is, my friend Jordan Bua. So it's like, when I kind of seen like, okay, like he might be going somewhere, I don't really know what's really going on. It was like, okay, in my back pocket, I got to look around too, because in the ELF, as they would say, it's a business. So at the end of the day, I got to make sure I'm going to be okay too. So for me, it was just, hey, like, I'm going to look around. It's not messy, you know what I mean? I have nothing against Vienna. It's all professional, you know what I mean? Yeah, so did I think maybe I would do my next, 2, 3, or 4 more years and then end at Vienna? Yeah, like, that's what you think. Like, you know what I mean? Like, hey, you already won a championship there. I've been there for 3 years. Hey, I'm going to play 3, maybe 3 more. And then I'm going to end it there and then go from there. You know what I mean? It had a crazy career. But like I said, like my mom says, sometimes you need to water your grass somewhere else, X. And it's okay. And it's okay. It's okay. You know what I mean? Like my mom says, like, you've done enough. You've done a lot for Vienna. They've done enough for you too. So at the end of the day, like, experience somewhere else to see what's up, a different culture, it's okay. So that kind of made me even get more down to earth, because I bring up my mom because it's just like, I see my mom from time to time. I'm gone. So she'd be asking, like, where are you? What's your next stop? Like, because she already knows sometimes. Like, you going back to Vienna? All right, cool. You know what I mean? And this one, she kind of felt my vibe. Like when I was like, oh, mama. She's like, oh, okay, you're gonna look around. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna see what's up. I just want to see what's out there now. You know what I mean? So, was it easy to like just do it? Like, no, because I have a lot of friends and my brothers are here. Like, I have a lot, and at the end of the day, they're super happy for me too. You know what I mean? We still hang out and everything because at the end of the day, we all get to play football again, and we all get to level up together. It's no big deal. It's no bad blood. It's not like that. It's not the NFL stuff. You know what I mean? It's not these $70 million contracts and you're being, you want to play only for the money. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So it wasn't easy, but I'm blessed enough where, I know guys like Dre and Clark, Glenn Tunga, Luke Glenna, Chad, a couple imports I already know that we've already talked, you know what I mean? And they brought up the Nordic stuff to me, and they said nothing but great things. And Coach Shoop's reaching out to me, and Coach Noble, the defensive coordinator, they have great energy, and just hearing them talk to me on just football stuff and getting to know me as a person, they love my energy. I love their energy, and it was like a why not? You know what I mean? I give them a shout out right now to the Nordic Storm for not only giving me this opportunity, but to also level up with this organization, because I'm gonna give them my everything, and I'm ready for a good year. I'm ready to go this year.
It's very nice to hear them. Like you're always on this mood, all gas, no brakes. I'm gonna play whoever comes into my way. Like you're just like a keep grinding sort of person. And I really think this Nordic Storm team, like of course that's still too early to talk about, but
Right. No, and I like that you bring it up like that, because for me, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's like for me when people bring up the Nordic, and it's like you got a lot of big names. I understand that, but I also tell people like we're not gonna let the big names get in within our locker room, as in we're gonna just buy in and grind.
Yeah.
And go from there. Buy in and grind and let the scoreboard speak for itself. And that's it, because it starts with OTAs and then building our culture, and then we'll get ready for whoever we play, in week 1. You know what I mean? Yeah. You can't worry about week 4 when we haven't even met as an organization. You know what I mean? The big names, it's a blessing. On paper, it looks like, okay, this could be a damn good team, but let's buy in and go from there. And we just go from there. So I'm with you. I agree with you.
Yeah, we'll see. Like we're all super excited to see, because I think your DB unit is pretty good, pretty good.
100%.
Your linebacker unit and the rest of the team, I'm gonna name them one by one, but like we'll see, because there's also the part of the element that the team chemistry, and like for example, when you look at Vienna, like right now after the 3rd straight year, the culture you built there, I'm looking at your, like even this season or the previous season, like Vienna was always on top of the league, and you just named it. The big reason for that was the academy. They were a long-standing force in the Austrian league before they joined ELF. So they build up the team chemistry, and you complement on that. You go there as an import, and like there's the championship culture. I'm very excited to see, because they're bringing lots of champions. I think one. Okay, that will be my question. So you played on a lot of teams and with a lot of teammates and so on, and you yourself a ELF champion. And like, when do you what is the particular thing that you see when you play with a former champion? What do you see in a way they approach football and team culture and their rituals and the level of playing football? Like, what separates those champions from the rest of the crowd? What do you think?
I would say discipline. Like, I'll be honest, like, it's gonna sound like, oh yeah, whoop, like, me, as an import, like, I'm all about enjoying life. Hear me, I'm all about enjoying life, enjoying Europe, but like, those imports too that wanna they want to go out and party. You know what I mean? Like, they want to go out and mess around. And I respect those guys. If you can do it as in you have a switch come game week and you can flip the switch, I respect it. But not everyone can do that. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's a discipline thing. And how serious are you about your craft and getting ready for week by week? You know what I mean? And it's being disciplined, which that equals, because being disciplined equals being consistent right there. 100%. I think that's what separates, the good, I'll name a dude. What's his name? That's always leading our league in tackles. Freaking AJ Whitland, right? That's one of my dudes. I'm a close one, good guy. But he's always, every year, he's leading our league in tackles, right? Because he's disciplined. He's consistent. And we talk all the time because we like to push each other. You know what I mean? He's always doing his thing in the way where I'm doing the same stuff. And it's just like we push each other, you know what I mean? We played against each other, and it's nothing but respect. So I would call it just being disciplined. I mean, I feel like anybody that loves football, whoever their favorite football player is, I guarantee they're disciplined, and I guarantee their discipline is out the roof. Like, I guarantee it. People that like Kobe, like LeBron James, you know what I mean? Whoever, the Ed Reeds, the Ray Lewis, those guys, discipline is that's what it is. The James Harrisons, they're disciplined,
Yeah, very. I mean, like that's true. That's true. Like you were talking about the basics most of the time, and like I really like this saying, like simple is king. Like simply, you need to stick to your schedule. If you say, like for example, I really like this quote from Kobe. He says like, I make the plan and like I don't negotiate with myself. So like he says, if it's written on the schedule that he's gonna be there that many times, and he doesn't negotiate. That's the contract. That's the work which has to be done. So speaking of those and other people, like you name a lot of people that you look up to, and I want to go a bit deeper on that because like most of the times when we evaluate players, there's a big difference between what we see on the screen and social media versus who they are as a person. So it's very very valuable to hear those things about other people, about discipline, and like that's one thing that I cannot learn from social media, for example. But
Right.
are there any other players in this league, or like you can name in general, like throughout your career, like you named AJ Wetland, for example?
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to have an episode with him as well, because like he's on the.
Just let me know too, because I can reach out to these dudes, and these guys will be more than welcome. They'll be more than down, bro. These guys are such people.
Yeah,
They're down to earth. Like
yeah,
I know it on the outside. You can be like, dude, that guy is probably hard to say what's up to, because he's such a hard worker. But it's like, you know what I mean? Like somebody can be like, dude, that dude X, all he does is work out. But it's like, me as a person. Like I'm a very people person. I just like I talk about anything, pop jokes, but it's like I also know, what my goals are, and I don't mess around. You know what I mean when it comes down to those, and that's it.
yeah.
But yeah, what were you saying about the guys around the league?
I was saying about like, are there any other people that you respect the most? Like, who are the other people that you look up to and you really respect as a colleague, as a former athlete, or as
yeah. I'll give a couple shout outs. We brought up AJ Winland. I give a shout out to my boy Omari Williams, the safety for Rhino Fire. My homie I always talk to, always give him a hard time, Kyle Kitchens. You know what I mean? He be dominating at the DN. Who else? There's a lot of good ones. My boy CJ, right now, he just signed with the New York Lions. He's a running back. He used to be playing for the Raiders. I know we're talking about ELF, but he used to be in the ELF. He works his ass off. Who else? There's a lot. There's so many good guys. I can keep going. Jadrian Clark, Glenn Tunga, those guys grind. You know what I mean? The numbers speak for themselves. Zach Edwards, another good one. A good quarterback right now that was just recent right now. Ben Holmes, a freak. The dude throws dimes, but he works out hard, not only physically, but he's always in the film room, which for me, like seeing him at the quarterback spot in Europe, he's the most professional quarterback that I've seen. Like he's in the film room all day, every day. But it speaks because when he's on the field, he is throwing dimes, and he has audible checks. He knows everything inside out. So that's another guy I really respect too. So
I mean, like from what you're saying, I think it really sounds like you feel so grateful and lucky to be able to play with these players because they're also like very high quality players. I think that should be a nice experience, in my opinion. And speaking about other player, I'm wondering about what were your toughest matchups about your opponents? Like, is there any specific names that gave you the hardest time, or the receivers that you respect the most because they're hella good receivers?
yeah, I'll give you a little lineup that I like that it was fun going against. I won't say like, yeah, you're funny. There's no one that really like gave me a tough time yet like that.
For
So,
real.
but I'll tell you there's some good matchups that I like that it was a fun match. It was like competitive. Aaron Jackson at Berlin. That Berlin, it was just always a good matchup.
Why?
I'll give you another. Oh, why? Because he's just a bigger receiver. He's like 6'3", bigger receiver. You know, more a little savvy at 6'3", so you got to watch out for it. I'll give you another one. Malik Stanley, bigger receiver, but very physical. Very physical. If I had to compare him to like a prototype, he was like a Brandon Marshall. Very physical. So I like that. Tony Tate, which I wish he was back in this league. I give him a shout out. He's a good receiver, good, like a little Tavon Austin type of dude. Plays the slide, he can play the outside. Very shifty, has very good speed. And I'll give another one. When he was at Istanbul, you're going to probably remember him. His name was Terrion Robinson.
I know Tyrion. He was playing for Rams.
Yeah, when he was on the Rams, he could get it done. Like he was a great. We went at it. It felt like a Des Bryant versus Darrelle Revis matchup. Like we were going at it because he would motion to the slot. And I'd have to go to safety and guard him from there. Then he would motion back to the outside and go to corner. I like him a lot because he can run. He can run a lot of the route tree. He's a great tempo route runner. So I'll say those guys. And my last one that I didn't get to see him a lot, only in the playoffs, but I would say I didn't get to see him as much, but it was like fun get to go against him here and there. His name's Daryl Stewart. He was at Stuttgart, but now he's playing for Wroclaw now this year. He's another great receiver. I respect his game. I respect those guys' game 100%.
Yeah, they're like way too many good receivers in this league, and I saw it a couple times. So I was in Istanbul, like in the city. I was there, and I was lucky enough to watch a couple ELF games. And then one thing I watched was the game between Rams versus Barcelona Dragons. So still, if you get to the YouTube page of ELF, you look for the most viewed videos, like the most viewed highlights. And I think you see like that's still in top 5 most viewed video on like ELF's YouTube channel, because like no one was like that was the game, the first game they got Tyrion, like they came in the like leagues right in the middle. And then the second half of the season started, and like no one was expecting Istanbul with the new QB plus Tyrion.
Terry was going crazy, yo.
Yeah, crazy stats and so on. That was very nice to see. Like, and when you see with your own eyes, you realize the difference in the quality of the football. So that's very nice experience to watch, and I'm very, very happy that you're doing your craft at the top of this continent at the highest level in Europe. That's very nice thing that we crossed paths in the beginning of your career. But that being said, like now you've been playing in Europe for like 6 years, and when do you think this journey will end? Like, when do you think of the retirement? Or my following question would be that, like, would you like to stay here as a coach, or would you like to base your life here?
Yeah, so right now it's like my trainer, and I agree like with my family. So I take it year by year right now. That's what I'm doing. So like, yeah, am I gonna be out there at like 38 doing my thing? No, like, but am I out here? Can I go for the next 2 to 3 at my level where I want to be high level and be still known as, I'll be honest, as a top 10, top 15 player in this whole league? Yeah. And I feel like I still got that all up in me, because that comes down to the way not only my mindset, but the way I train. And I haven't lost any gas. I haven't lost any speed. And my trainers back home are very, very raw. As in, they'll keep it real with me. Like, hey, dude, like, because my trainer, Glenn Campbell, I'll give him a shout out right now. Steve Calhoun, another guy I'll give a shout out to. These guys train NFL guys every year. And they, my bad, they train NFL guys every year. And they, keep it serious. You know what I mean? They train guys that are in their mid-20s. They train guys in their mid-30s. And they keep it real. You know what I mean? As in what their production looks like. You know what I mean? If they look like they lost a step, or if they're gaining a step, if they can keep going at a high level. And for me, they told me, like, right now, like, dude, keep going. Like, the way you're moving, it's ridiculous still. So I'm feeling great. I'm blessed for every year. And this year, I just can't wait. I'm very motivated because I'm on another. I would say I'm just motivated. I'm ready to come back because I feel like some people kind of, after this past year, kind of lost me a little bit in the mix. Like, they know I'm still that guy, but it's like, does he, can he still do it? And it's like, yeah. So it's not for other people, but it's for myself. So I'm about to really level up, and that's it. So I take it year by year when we talk about that. And for me, though, life after ball now, for your second question, I would love to also I want to give back to Europe. I want to give back to these young kids. I would love to be a position coach maybe, or even a guy that does private lessons with guys, not only from the DBs, but for receivers or running backs. I feel like I can do a lot for not only an organization, but for Europe, for football, period. Like, I want to also maybe have my own footwork academy, as in I'm getting people right. You know what I mean? Movement, mobility. You know what I mean? So that's something I want to dive into for sure. Life after football, and I would love to do it in Europe, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's very nice to hear you really like it here. But now I think of the couple different cities that you've been to, and like you've been in Europe for like 6 years, and you saw quite a lot of cities. Aside, like completely excluding the football factor, just by like looking at the city, like how livable is that? Do you have a couple favorite cities? Like, which cities do you like the most?
Barcelona was cool. I like Barcelona. It was fun, man. It was fun. I like there. What other places can I just name? I always like Vienna, the city. Obviously, it's nice, but it's super cold. Super cold in the winter. You know what I mean? I had to get used to that. I want to be honest, yo. Even when I was in Turkey, it was cool for me because you guys would show me around. So like, remember we would just like ride bikes around the city. You know what I mean? Like, for me, the only place that was super crazy for me to see was in Istanbul because it was so packed.
Yeah.
Like, it was packed, yo. Like, I thought LA was congested. Like, that was different. You know what I mean? That was a whole different level. You know what I mean? So I would say that. I liked Thonon. Thonon was beautiful. The mountains were super cool. Like, yeah, it was super cold, but the city, like, it was cool. It was cool. And like when we went to south of France, like it was cool because it was warmer, obviously. So it was cool. I like Switzerland. I like Switzerland too. Switzerland's beautiful. I went there when I was in Thonon. It's not a far drive at all. So I like those cities, and yeah, I would say those. But I like Barcelona because of the beach. So it was nice.
I think that's your Cali vibe. I think.
Yeah. So yeah.
Vibes there, but no.
I'm a little biased when it comes to that.
Okay, let me ask you about your bias. Like, have you been to Copenhagen before? And like, because that will be somewhat a cold country, but I heard from many people like Copenhagen is an amazing city. I've been there many times before, and I bet you would love it. The vibe around the city, I think you'll have a great time there. And I think like somehow people think it's like way too cold, but like it's a very good weather to play sports. I really like it. And then my question was like, have you ever been to Copenhagen, and what do you think about the cold there? Like, you think that will be a challenge for you, or?
No, because my college was in Nebraska, so when we talk about weather, I can deal with it. You know what I mean? But hear me out. It's funny because I just reached out to Glenn Tunga about this. I was like, yo, like, how is it up there? He's like, dude, like, it is pretty cold and whatnot. But he said the summer times will be nice. So I'm like, all right, cool.
But to answer your other question, I've never been to Copenhagen, so that's why it's like it's different for me. You know what I mean? I'm gonna see what's going on, but everyone says that I will love it. You know what I mean? The coaching staff is super cool. So everything on the outside of them telling me, they said that it's a beautiful city. Jadrian Clark told me, he's like, dude, I wouldn't come here if I didn't think it was going to be sweet. So he told me I'm going to like it a lot. I'm just ready to embrace it. You know what I mean? So that's it. Everyone tells me, like, dude, you went to even colder country now. And I'm like, oh, here we go. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, well, I'm excited. But yeah, I've never been up there.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe that won't be that cold because I think they were really right about the summer. Summer is amazing there. Like the weather is just warm enough. It's not cold. You can go there with like shorts and t-shirt. That's enough. And like playing
Right.
football in that weather, that spring weather, it's an amazing feeling. I wish you the best of luck in Copenhagen. And soon, bro, we're coming to the 1 hour mark. I will like slowly start wrapping things up here. But before that, I have just a couple more topics.
Hey, let me know when you want tickets, bro.
Okay, for real.
Yeah, dude, for real. Let me know. Like, hey, I'm coming up. I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna get everything set up.
For real, like if I want to come see you play in Nordic Storm, would you fix me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll get this. Come on, Utku, come on.
That's very nice to hear, man. I think I will use my right to get.
Yes, 100%, dude. We'll have a good time.
Amazing. That'll be amazing, man. So
100%.
yeah, slowly wrapping up here, but like last couple things that I want to learn from you is that like I want to focus a bit about your rituals. But what I mean by rituals is that like some things that you do specifically on game days, or do you have a set structure that you do before every practice or a game or after a game, or
Mm.
like because you've been talking a lot about being disciplined and like putting your craft on a habitual, like that some habits that you have should be affecting the way you play. So can you give us a brief look at your, let's say, game day? What you do different than many other
I'll
athletes?
tell you right now. I done something that I've been doing that I try to not forget, but I really don't forget because I be on it. It's I write in my like simple my notebook where it's just like an everyday thing. Even before I basically write in it every day. And at the end of the week, when it comes, game day, just it's just stuff that I'm just grateful and blessed for, and I don't take for granted. So it's just a list of things, like now I always watch film and stuff like that, but I also tell myself, that also puts me in a state of mind of just focus and just lock in. Is just I write in my notebook, I look at my notes, and I just look at the stuff I'm always blessed and grateful for all the time. And I'm bringing that stuff up because, like I said, not every year you're blessed. We're fortunate enough to play. We're playing a kid's game. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, like when you're 20 plus years old, 30 plus years old, and we're playing at a professional level, right? Like at the end of the day, this is a kid's game. Like it's a blessing. Like when people ask me, like, like you playing the ELF, and they're like, and it's like, yeah, like that's like my occupation. That's my job. You know what I mean? And I don't take it for granted. So it's like I write in my notes almost all the time. I still do it every day, even the off season. Just stuff I'm grateful for and thankful for, and just that puts me in the right mind state, and just that, because that stuff for me, it just keeps me level headed. You know what I mean? And like, because I don't do it like, am I blessed to like, for the fans and all that stuff? Like I'm so blessed for that, but I also just do it simply because I love the game. You know what I mean? Like I still tell myself like, remember why you like. I always tell myself like, remember why I started this, and it's because one, I just love the game. You know what I mean? And me just loving it my whole life, it's blessed me in ways I would never thought of. You know what I mean? So I do that. I write in my notebook, and I have rituals where I write in my notebook. I watch my film, and I do a lot. I always do it a little bit. I always look at like it will always be the day before, and I always like kind of look at like, if it's my receiver matchup, I always look at like his top route trees. You know what I mean, and break that down to myself just to refresh my mind up a little bit, and then after that, play my music, read my notes again, and then it's time to buckle up.
Yeah, I really like your mindset when you enter that game mode. When you switch that on, I really like your way of playing because like those you're having fun so much and you're playing so
Right.
hard. Like you're not only just angry level, but like angry on the game, like
Right.
when tackling and so
Like
on. But
I
like,
try to keep it at the float because even my mom says she's like you're Xavier, like she knows you, she knows me as like little X, but she's like since I've like when you hit that green grass, like you're a demon mode, like you're a completely different person, but it's in a respectful way. But she knows like it's just how I am. Even my teammates be like, they know like I'm hyped up, but I control it because like I said, like you don't want to get too high. But I'm not gonna let nobody get low. But I'm gonna make sure we're locked in, laser focused. You know what I mean? And let's go. Let's let it rock. For me, it's like in this game, you shouldn't have to teach effort. That for me, there should be no like, does he care? Like, no, like you should be. Let's go 100 miles per hour. You know what I mean? And for me, that's what it's about. Because you go 100 miles per hour, like you're bound to make a big play. You know what I mean? You don't have to force it.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like you were one of the. Like, I think you're the top. With my own eyes, I see that you have 100% effort, and like you always stand out only by the level of your effort, without watching you making plays. Like you see that this play is coming to this kid because like I see it on the every play and so on. But yeah, talking about this laser focus being sharp and so on. But one thing I particularly observe is that like you come to sideline and you're so like laughing and hyped about it, and you're like having so much fun. And I can see, okay, this guy is doing the thing that he loves the most. I think that gives a very great aspect to the game, so that you would sustain it as a part of your life. That's very important to stay consistent with it, because like when there is this love, I think there is always, you have your why when you have this part of love to the game. So it's very nice to hear those words from you. And coming slowly to the finish, I think thank you so much for today, man. I was really like, this is a very
No,
quality
like
conversation, man.
like we kept missing each other, bro. Like you would hit me like, bro, I want to set up. I was like, okay, and because it was my fault. Sometimes I'd be training, and I'd be like, oh my god, Utku just asked me to do a podcast like in 4 or 5 days. I hit you up, and it was like a phone tag, but I was like, bro, I need this week. I even told myself, I was like, bro, I'm gonna make this happen. We're gonna do this. This is my brother. Let's make this happen. And now, like, bro, like I'm gonna tell my mom about this, like, cause she always asks, like, how are your friends back in Turkey? Like, she remembers, like, it's just, like I'll never forget, like, when it's all said and done. The reason why I even got here today is my first year ever overseas. Turkey took a chance on me, and then look at the blessings. You know what I mean? And that's it. I still have that same grind in me from then. I still feel like I got to make the team every year. That's how I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like you told us so many things. I think this will be one of the most viewed episodes because there's so much value in this conversation. But lastly, this thing just came to my mind. Like when you think, like when you analyze it, the way you have the sport versus, let's say, an average guy in Europe. Because like I will give myself as a case study. I have my own job 40-45 hours a week. Then I try to like do the sport like 6-7 days a week, like some drills, speed work, team practices 3 times, lifting 2 to 3 times. It's like already my big chunk of my life is work pretty much. Then all the remaining time we try to give this to this game, and I do this because the pure love that I have to the game. But when you think about your case, you're lucky and blessed enough that football is the thing that you love the most in your life. Okay, that's one circle. And the other circle is that football is the thing that makes you earn your living, And you're so good at this craft that some people and teams or organizations are willing enough to, give you this opportunity to brought you there with like all these the thing that you love the most. Basically you get to play football and like you earn your living out of that. I think that's such a blessing, and it puts a chip on your shoulder as well, because that's now your profession, right? That's your career, and that's you should hold up to some standards. But it's particularly grateful for today because now like 2 different ends of the spectrum, like professional American import, top of the league versus like a regular person wondering these
and
things.
That's why I brought that up, Utku, because remember I was like earlier in this episode, I was like I respect those guys that are working, have a family, have to work out and still come to practice and perform. I brought that up because people don't understand, like, that's a whole nother level of commitment.
No.
You know what I mean? And I applaud all those guys. And I want that out there so people get that, because those guys don't have to be there. They could be doing their own thing. And next thing you know is a couple good homegrowns do their own thing. They don't want to play for the football, right? Because, however, let's say they don't want to, your team can go from high to low very quickly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's why you got to applaud those guys, people like you, like, that are doing that. That's a blessing, and it's an honor to play with those guys that do that.
Yeah, thank you so much for the kind words. It's very nice to hear them. I mean, there also one cool thing that you experience is that you are actually experiencing the rise of the ELF, because when you started 2022, it was not as popular as it is today, and like you saw the exponential growth there. And like I was watching a couple videos on YouTube about like where will this project go and how would be the end of this ELF thing, and they compared like basketball. I mean, like there's NBA versus there's EuroLeague in Europe, and
100%.
Yeah, the closest comparison will be like EuroLeague versus NBA. So, but we're still experiencing growth of the ELF, and it's very nice to have this thing in your resume, like you're an ELF champion, and like there's so many things to learn from you, Exavier. Like once again, like pretty nice conversation.
No, I really appreciate it, man. I appreciate everything, and we'll stay in touch like usual, Utku. You're my guy.
Yeah. So before I come to the conclusion and wrap up the episode, I always have one last question. If you don't know if you don't know about it, that will make your mind ponder a bit, because that's somewhat a cool question you will see. And then the question is, just rhetorically speaking, it doesn't have to be like real world example. You would have a billboard in every single field that sport of football is being played. It might be flag football, or like any practice, game field, every single thing, rhetorically speaking. You will have a giant billboard that everybody sees, from coaches to players to audience, and everybody will see that billboard. What would you write there?
Trust the process.
For real?
Yeah.
Why though?
Because so many people give up on their stuff. Like, I'm telling you, it's amazing. Like, I've talked to even the young kids that I want to do this, I want to do that. But you gotta do the right steps to do that. Because there's a lot of people that want to cut corners or skip steps in life, not even in sports, in life, period, man. I feel like you gotta trust the process and have some trust in yourself. You know what I mean? For me, it's trust the process. For me, I think I'm one of the blueprints, as in, starting from low and going and getting to the high, and then when you get to that high, stay there. Me, I'm not comfortable where I'm at. I'm ready to. I still got more to do. You know what I mean? And that's, for me, it's trusting the process. As in, my weightlifting and what I do every day it's a process, I'm not skipping a step though. And you know what I mean? Like I said, there's times I'm working out. Yeah, you're like, damn, that dude X is attacking it. Some days you don't know. That might have been my best workout day, but that might have been the day I didn't even want to be at the gym because my body was sore, but I had to perform. You know what I mean? That's how it is. And that's how it is when you play the game or whatever you do in life, period. There's going to be things you don't want to do, but it's going to be the sacrifice, and it's going to bless you later on. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
So for me, all that has to do with trusting the process.
That's very nice to know about your mindset and how you think about this entire chapter of your life. It was very, very nice to hear. But you just reminded myself one thing. I was watching those some post Super Bowl interviews and everything. Then I saw like a compilation video of Jalen Hurts giving out speeches. Mm-hmm. And like one phrase significantly stuck in my mind, and he says on one press conference, he says like, rent is due every day. That's my mindset, and I'll keep having this as my mindset like every single day, bro. And he says like, rent is due every day, man. You gotta do every single day.
Right.
That's very nice to hear, man. Thank you so much for the conversation. Before we wrap up, is there anything that you wish to touch upon but couldn't find the chance because we were talking about something else, or you never had the chance to bring it up. Is there anything you want to add before we close?
No, I'm just blessed to play this game, and shout out to my mom. Love my mom, and that's it. And my whole family. That's it.
Thank you so much for this being this like there. I believe there are a lot of kids taking you as their idol, and like you're so humble about it and all the things that you do. Like it was one of my, I think that was one of my significant podcast episodes that I did with you today, Exavier. Thank you so much for coming, my friend. And
of course, man, that was a lot of fun. I appreciate everything, and don't be a stranger. Hit me up, and we'll set up. It will be a great season, and I will have tickets for you, brother.
Bro, we'll do so. And like all dear friends, if you watched it until here, I really appreciate the support. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like this video.
Subscribe to my guy.
Yeah, then we will. Today we were with one and only ELF champion, my former teammate, my brother Exavier Edwards. We talk about a lot of stuff. Personally, I learned so much from him, and so great personality when you're speaking with him in person. Such a humble guy, and like there's so many things to achieve more. Exavier, I will be cheering and supporting for you. Again, my friend, thank you so much for coming today. And dear friends, I will see you in the next episode. Take care.
All right, brother. I'll see you too. We'll go see you.